but just maintain those relationships. And I think the intangible element is the sheer joy that you get out of reflecting on the relationships that you've built along the way, on how you've helped each other in not only the role that you were delivering, but in how that impacts each other's lives. What opportunities can you provide for each other? How can you help each other to perform better? Hi, and welcome to Helping You Perform. I'm your host, Paul Teasdale. Over a career working with high-performing teams from across the globe, including 7 years working with Formula One team McLaren, I've learned a lot about what it takes to drive results. In this weekly podcast series, I'm going to be bringing you tips, tricks, and insights from the world of Formula One that you can apply to your organisation for your high performance. Enjoy. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Helping You Perform, where I bring my tips, tricks, insights, and stories from the world of F1 and beyond to help you accelerate your performance. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode 79, where I talked about when opportunity knocks. This week, I want to talk about maintaining networks. So how do you leave businesses? How do you leave organizations and situations where you're maintaining the networks and the connections that you've got, partly just for the sheer hell of it, because you really get on with the individuals, but partly to help your career and to help them with their career as well, because you never know where it's going to take you. Recently, I had the opportunity to catch up with some of my ex-McLaren colleagues and had a great evening, maybe a beer or two, and some conversations about where we're at. Sharing some of the stories about our times in the business. We've all gone on our separate ways. One of the guys couldn't actually meet us because he was still with the McLaren business. But yeah, it's that element of how do what's the reasoning and what is the advantage for you and your colleagues and your friends there to maintaining those relationships? Because when you leave a business, you can just get up, leave, leave that part of your life behind you. And maybe that's right for you in this moment. But what I found throughout my career is that when I am leaving a business, when I'm taking those opportunities that came knocking, I make sure that I try to keep those connections, keep those networks going so that I can help individuals and pull them up with the opportunities that I've got, maybe provide them with an opportunity to be a client instead of an ex-colleague. Maybe I'm providing them with an opportunity to connect with somebody else that might be of value and bring them into a whole new world that they didn't have any connections with. But it also has some advantages from my side as well. It's that networking, it's the opportunities to get additional input, different thoughts, different challenges for how I can bring my value to a business and what else I can do to help the organization that I'm now working with to perform at its best. And it's always good because what tends to happen in those relationships and when in maintaining those connections, the conversation is inevitably it's about reflection. It's about remember that time when this happened. And when you reflect, you're not only thinking about the time, but you're thinking about the lessons associated with that time. What did you take from it? What could you take from it on reflection? And so sharing those stories with my ex-McLaren mates, it was all amazing about, what are you doing now? How are you bringing the lessons that we learned in that space into what you're doing right now? What can we do to help each other now that we're in a different organization and maybe a different industry, a different space? And then if people are thinking about different things, if they're looking for connections in your world that you've now got that you haven't previously, if they've got connections that now mean more to you in a new job than it did when you were working in that previous role with them, what are those things where you can add a little bit to each other? You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, but just maintain those relationships. And I think the intangible element is the sheer joy that you get out of reflecting on the relationships that you've built along the way, on how you've helped each other in not only the role that you were delivering, but in how that impacts each other's lives. What opportunities can you provide for each other? How can you help each other to perform better? And I'm all about microphone drop. I'm all about helping others accelerate their performance. And that's what I think it's all about. When we maintain those connections, when we share our stories, when we reflect with our colleagues, that is where we learn the lessons that are going to move us to the next level, and they're going to help others move to the next level as well. So have a think about that for yourself this week. Who are those individuals, who are those networks that you have previously worked with that you should be reaching out with, reconnecting with? Maybe go out, have a social meal, a drink, a conversation, sit down for a coffee, have a virtual chat with them. Share where you are, if for no other reason than just to connect. But inevitably, I'm sure you're going to find ways which are going to add some mutual value as well. And as always, I'd love to hear those stories. Reach out to me via LinkedIn or via paulteasdale.co.uk, and let's share those stories together, reconnect, and reach out to each other and help each other to accelerate each other's performance. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Helping You Perform podcast. If you found value in this episode, please take a moment to like, share, or review the podcast. You can reach out to me at any time, either through LinkedIn or through my website at www.paulteasdale.co.uk. I look forward to speaking to you in the next episode.